Chosen One, the Masons don't like you because you are bringing severe judgment to their cult establishment. These shadow organizations have been building their house of cards around your life for decades, but today the cosmic winds are howling and their entire structure is about to collapse into dust. The portal energy crackling through the atmosphere is cracking its knuckles before delivering the spiritual beatdown these cult members have earned through years of attacking someone whose cosmic rank makes their little earthly organization look like a kindergarten finger-painting club. But this is only the first tremor of an earthquake that will level their entire foundation. The desperation beginning to consume their ranks will soon reach suicidal levels, and the revelation of your true bloodline will expose deceptions that stretch back generations. Hidden in plain sight, a surveillance network has been documenting your every move, feeding intelligence to lodge meetings where your elimination tops every agenda. Yet what they don't realize is that their own monitoring systems will become the instruments of their destruction. The first sign of their unraveling comes through former allies, that karmic friend who once walked beside you. They're now contemplating ending their own life because the black magic they've been directing at you has reversed course like a spiritual boomerang. These aren't just failed love spells or binding rituals. We're talking about practitioners who specialized in death magic, who spent years crafting suicidal spells intended to destroy your will to live. Now those same energies are consuming them from within, and they're discovering what happens when you attack someone under divine protection. Meanwhile, across the globe, practitioners who thought distance would protect them from karmic backlash are experiencing catastrophic reversals. The overseas magicians who accepted payment to destroy your peace of mind are now losing their own sanity as their carefully constructed rituals collapse inward. Some are reporting that their altars spontaneously combust during ceremonies. Others describe protective circles that turn into prisons, trapping them with the very entities they summoned to attack you. But the individual practitioners are merely foot soldiers in a much larger conspiracy, and the threads of deception run deeper than any surface revelation could suggest. Hidden behind the facade of your so-called family lies a demonic network that's been harvesting your spiritual energy since birth. Those people you've called relatives, DNA testing would reveal the shocking truth. They're not your blood family at all. They're carefully placed spiritual parasites, selected and positioned to drain your power while keeping you ignorant of your true heritage. The bloodline deception involves plasma manipulation and RH factor secrets that connect to your interdimensional origins. Your real ancestry traces back to reincarnated monks and divine beings, souls who've walked this earth as gods among mortals. The blood running through your veins carries genetic markers that these shadow organizations have been desperately trying to corrupt or steal through ritualistic ceremonies designed to transfer your spiritual gifts to their chosen initiates. But divine genetics can't be pirated, only awakened from within. The deception extends to forged birth certificates, manipulated adoption records, and falsified genealogy documents that paint a completely fictional family tree. Your real parents, your authentic bloodline, connects to spiritual royalty that these organizations have spent centuries trying to eliminate or co-opt. The irony is that their attempts to suppress your heritage have actually preserved it, keeping your gifts dormant until the appointed time for awakening. Meanwhile, the surveillance network monitoring your every move stretches far beyond what civilian minds could comprehend. Those Masons who claim to be pillars of the community have been watching you every single day, tracking your movements through shopping malls and public spaces, documenting your spiritual evolution with the methodical precision of scientists studying a rare species. Their agents pose as cashiers, security guards, and fellow shoppers, all feeding intelligence back to lodge meetings where your elimination is the primary agenda item. Every major retail location you frequent has become a monitoring station, but their surveillance web contains a fatal flaw they haven't recognized. That family dollar where strange incidents kept occurring isn't just coincidence, it's a front operation. Your karmic cousin, the one who seemed so helpful and caring, has been systematically contaminating your products with substances designed to weaken your psychic defenses. The poison wasn't meant to kill your physical body. It was crafted to dull your spiritual senses and keep your gifts from fully manifesting. The contamination campaign represents years of careful planning. Specific household products were targeted based on your purchasing patterns. Cleaning supplies laced with chemicals that create brain fog, personal care items infused with synthetic hormones that disrupt spiritual perception. Even food items were compromised through supply chain infiltration, creating a constant low-level poisoning designed to keep your consciousness suppressed. Yet while they've been playing their small-scale contamination games, federal investigators have been building a case that will expose their crimes in ways that make their retail operations look like child's play. The legal system has been weaponized against your inheritance through court documents bearing your name that have been deliberately buried in probate proceedings designed to steal both your material and spiritual legacy. Insurance policies listing you as beneficiary have been redirected through fraudulent death certificates. Yes, they actually faked your death on paper to claim benefits while keeping you alive, but legally non-existent. The insurance fraud scheme involved corrupted medical examiners, bribed court clerks, and falsified autopsy reports that declared you deceased while you continued living under a different legal identity they created. The death certificate fraud enabled them to claim life insurance payouts, inherit property designated for you, and even collect Social Security benefits in your name. Meanwhile, you existed in a legal limbo that prevented you from accessing your legitimate inheritance or challenging their theft through normal channels. Your true inheritance includes access to spiritual technologies that your ancestors developed over millennia, meditation techniques that can alter physical reality, prayer formulas that command angelic intervention, visualization methods that manifest material abundance instantly. These gifts were encoded in your genetic structure, waiting for the moment when your consciousness would expand enough to access them safely. Your twin flame connection represents the ultimate threat to their control matrix, and their interference in this divine union reveals the true scope of their desperation. The divine masculine energy destined to unite with yours has been trapped in legal proceedings, ensnared by a karmic ex whose obsession borders on demonic possession. This isn't random romantic drama, it's strategic interference with a cosmic union that would exponentially amplify both your powers. Their desperation has made them sloppy, and federal investigators have uncovered evidence that reads like something from humanity's darkest nightmares. Body parts discovered in ritualistic arrangements, children reported missing from areas surrounding their meeting locations, church establishments that serve as fronts for trafficking operations, where star children's souls with exceptional spiritual gifts are studied like laboratory specimens. The Amber Alerts that seem to cluster around certain geographic regions aren't coincidence, they're the footprints of organized spiritual predation. The trafficking operation specifically targets children who display psychic abilities, artistic talents, or unusual intelligence. These star children are kidnapped under the guise of custody disputes, runaway cases, or family emergencies. Once in the system, they're subjected to experiments designed to harvest their spiritual energy and transfer it to adult practitioners who lack natural gifts. The procedures are conducted in facilities disguised as therapeutic boarding schools, religious retreats, and medical research centers. The Masonic warlock at the center of this web carries diseases that his cult deliberately spreads through ritualistic contact. His rage at your refusal to chase his energy, to lower yourself to his frequency, has driven him to recruit others in increasingly violent schemes. The group meetings happening in your area right now aren't social gatherings. They're planning sessions where paid hits are being organized. Not physical assassination attempts, though those may come, but coordinated psychic attacks designed to overwhelm your nervous system and trigger the kind of breakdown that would hospitalize or institutionalize you. Master wizards practitioners, whose abilities dwarf those small-time spellcasters, have been contracted for this assault. Portal Day energy is being harnessed and weaponized, dimensional gateways opened to channel malevolent forces directly into your living space. They're timing these attacks for maximum impact, coordinating across time zones to create a sustained barrage of spiritual violence that they believe will finally break your resistance. The Master Wizards command prices in the millions for their services, and their involvement indicates how desperately these organizations want you neutralized. These aren't street-level practitioners working from apartments. They operate from private estates, employ teams of assistants, and maintain relationships with government officials who provide protection in exchange for intelligence services. Their magic incorporates advanced technology, pharmaceutical compounds, and psychological warfare techniques that blur the line between supernatural and scientific. Your ancestral protection runs deeper than their contemporary magic can penetrate, and the cosmic forces aligning for your defense operate on frequencies they can't even perceive. Right now, as these forces gather against you, your deceased grandmother's spirit has crossed back from the other side specifically to shield your energy field. Your grandmother's intervention represents more than personal protection. It's a cosmic correction that's been building for generations. She died carrying knowledge about your true heritage that she couldn't share while living, information that would have made her a target for the same forces now attacking you. Her return from the spiritual realm comes with full divine authority to expose every lie, reverse every curse, and restore every blessing that was stolen from your bloodline. The ancestral army includes spiritual warriors from multiple lifetimes, beings who served as guardians, healers, and mystics across different cultures and time periods. They bring with them the accumulated knowledge of centuries, magical techniques that predate anything these modern practitioners understand, and most importantly, direct access to divine power that makes earthly magic look like parlor tricks. Your spiritual rank, your position in the cosmic hierarchy, means that every attack launched against you carries automatic karmic consequences for the attackers. They're not just fighting you, they're defying the Most High's explicit protection over chosen vessels. That one night you spent in deep prayer, connecting with divine frequency, instead of entertaining their drama. The spiritual shockwaves from that single evening of alignment have been reverberating through their network ever since, causing practitioners to collapse under the weight of their own redirected malevolence. What took them years to build is crumbling in weeks because they chose to oppose someone whose cosmic rank supersedes their entire organizational chart. The financial abundance being withheld from you through their interference represents more than material wealth when those court papers finally break through their legal obstacles, when the inheritance fraud is exposed and reversed. The resulting windfall will fund a mission that threatens their entire power structure. Your prosperity isn't just personal blessing, it's resource allocation for spiritual warfare on a global scale. Their church cult fronts are being raided in coordinated operations that span multiple states. Their Masonic Lodge meetings are under federal surveillance that's documenting conspiracy charges in real time. Their offshore bank accounts are being frozen through international cooperation that treats their organization as a terrorist network. The network of fake families and planted relatives is being systematically exposed through DNA analysis and adoption record investigations that reveal the true scope of their human trafficking operations. The raids are happening simultaneously to prevent evidence destruction and ensure that key figures can't escape or coordinate their defenses. SWAT teams trained in cult deprogramming are extracting victims who've been held in these facilities for years. Forensic accountants are seizing computers that contain financial records proving money laundering operations that funded their criminal activities. But your protection extends beyond cosmic justice into practical divine intervention that operates with surgical precision. Travel plans designed to bring violence to your location are being disrupted by mechanical failures and traffic accidents that remove threats before they can materialize. The angels dispatched for your protection aren't operating with gentle guidance, they're wielding the kind of power that turns stalkers' vehicles into twisted metal and sends hired assassins to emergency rooms with inexplicable injuries. The Obsidian Inner Order is a sanctuary for those who have walked difficult paths and emerged with wisdom others can't see. We understand that some experiences exist outside the boundaries of what most people consider possible or acceptable to discuss. Every week we gather live on Zoom, real people with real faces sharing real stories without judgment. There's space here for the experiences you've carried in silence, the patterns you've noticed that others dismiss, the intuitive knowledge you've gained through your journey. We don't just listen, we understand. When you're struggling to make sense of your experiences, when you feel gaslit by a world that refuses to acknowledge your reality, you can return to our recorded calls and remember that your perception is valid. Join the Obsidian Inner Order, where your reality is honored and your voice is heard. Link in description. Ronrets. The divine intervention includes manipulation of technology systems that these organizations depend on for coordination. Their encrypted communication networks are developing mysterious glitches that expose conversations to law enforcement monitoring. GPS systems in their vehicles malfunction at critical moments, sending them to wrong locations or into areas where police are conducting unrelated operations. Even their financial systems are experiencing failures that freeze access to funds needed for their operations. The spiritual inheritance you've been denied is about to be restored with compound interest that will shock even you. Knowledge that was hidden from you is becoming available through supernatural channels, channeled information flowing through music, divine downloads during meditation, prophetic dreams that reveal their next moves before they make them. The Most High is ensuring that you stay 3 steps ahead of every scheme they devise. The restored inheritance includes access to secret libraries maintained by your authentic family line, repositories of knowledge that span millennia of spiritual research and development, ancient texts that reveal the true history of human consciousness, ritual instructions that unlock abilities most people consider impossible, prophetic writings that detail the exact timeline for the transformation now unfolding. The very surveillance network they built to monitor you has become transparent to your spiritual vision, allowing you to observe their activities while remaining invisible to their perception. Your ability to see through their matrix programming has reached levels that make their continued deception impossible. Reality programming that kept you docile and compliant is dissolving like cheap special effects under spiritual examination. The overseas practitioners are reporting identical experiences: sudden onset of suicidal ideation, unexplained depression, and compulsive thoughts about ending their lives. Some have already been hospitalized for attempted suicide. Others have disappeared entirely, leaving behind cryptic notes apologizing for their participation in attacks against someone they should never have touched. Federal prison cells are being prepared for the high-ranking cultists whose names appear on classified investigation lists. The dirty cop who helped falsify legal documents is about to discover that divine justice operates outside normal legal channels. The public officials who participated in this conspiracy are facing exposure that will destroy their careers and reputations before criminal charges even begin. Their desperation has reached the point where some are attempting to flee the country, but there's nowhere on earth where they can escape the consequences of attacking heaven's anointed. The prison preparations include special facilities designed to hold inmates who pose supernatural threats. These aren't standard correctional institutions, they're containment centers equipped with technology that neutralizes psychic abilities and prevents ritual activities. The staff includes specialists trained in cult deprogramming and spiritual warfare, ensuring that these prisoners can't continue their operations from behind bars. Your divine love connection is experiencing the same protective intervention that's been shielding your personal journey. Karmic interference designed to keep you separated is being systematically dismantled by forces that operate beyond human manipulation. The timing that seemed impossible is aligning with supernatural precision. Distance that felt insurmountable is collapsing as divine orchestration moves all the necessary pieces into position. The reunion approaching isn't just romantic fulfillment, it's the activation of a spiritual partnership that will amplify your individual missions into something these shadow organizations genuinely fear. The Divine Masculine has been granted legal victories that free him from all karmic entanglements. Custody arrangements that favored the obsessive ex have been reversed based on evidence of her mental instability and criminal activities. Restraining orders have been issued that prevent her from contacting either of you. Financial settlements that would have kept him trapped in poverty have been renegotiated in his favor, providing resources for the journey to you. The reunion timeline is accelerating beyond what either of you expected. Travel arrangements that seemed financially impossible are being funded through unexpected windfalls. Legal obstacles that could have delayed your connection for years are being resolved through judicial decisions that favor your union. Even practical matters like housing and employment are aligning to support your partnership. The evidence mounting against your enemies includes photographic proof of their ritualistic activities, recorded conversations revealing their conspiracy, financial documents proving their fraud, and medical records confirming the diseases they've spread through their practices. Federal investigators may not understand that they're documenting spiritual crimes, but the physical evidence speaks for itself. Bodies discovered in ritual arrangements, children's testimonies about trafficking operations, bank records showing payments to practitioners. The criminal justice system is about to deliver earthly consequences for heavenly violations. The photographic evidence includes images captured by security cameras at their meeting locations, showing ritualistic activities that violate multiple criminal statutes. The recorded conversations were obtained through wiretaps authorized by federal judges who recognized the scope of the conspiracy. The financial documents reveal money laundering operations that funded criminal activities across multiple jurisdictions. The medical records prove that cult members deliberately spread infectious diseases through ritual contact, creating public health emergencies that required federal intervention. The children's testimonies describe experiences that corroborate physical evidence found at trafficking sites. The bank records show payment patterns that connect seemingly unrelated criminal activities into a comprehensive conspiracy. Their attempts to trigger your nervous system through targeted energy attacks are backfiring as your spiritual defenses strengthen beyond their comprehension. The migraine headaches and anxiety episodes they tried to induce are bouncing back to their sources with multiplied intensity. Sleep disruption spells are causing insomnia in their own ranks. Confusion and mental fog they projected toward you is clouding their judgment and causing them to make strategic errors that expose their operations to authorities. The backfire effect is creating a feedback loop that amplifies their suffering while strengthening your protection. Every spell they cast rebounds with increased power, creating cumulative damage that's destroying their ability to function. The master wizards they hired are reporting that their own magical abilities are deteriorating, as if their connection to supernatural sources has been severed permanently. The Matrix-level awakening happening in your consciousness is revealing the true scope of their deception and the unlimited nature of your power. The code you've cracked isn't just personal enlightenment, it's a systematic understanding of how their control mechanisms operate and how to dismantle them permanently. Your ability to see through their illusions has reached the point where their continued existence depends on avoiding your attention entirely. The awakening includes access to information that exposes every aspect of their operations. You can now perceive the energy signatures that identify their agents, see through the personas they use to hide their true nature, and predict their actions based on pattern recognition that operates at quantum levels. This isn't just intuition, it's systematic knowledge that makes you effectively omniscient within their sphere of influence, but they can't hide anymore because your spiritual rank guarantees divine revelation of everything that affects your mission. The inheritance money being released through legal victories will provide resources for global awakening operations that extend far beyond your personal situation. The twin flame union being orchestrated will create an energy vortex that accelerates consciousness shifts worldwide. The ancestral protection surrounding you will extend to cover other chosen ones who are beginning their own awakening processes. The resource allocation includes funding for educational programs that will help other chosen ones recognize their gifts and avoid the traps that were set for you. Communication networks that will connect awakening souls globally. Legal support for those fighting similar inheritance fraud. Medical assistance for those recovering from poisoning and ritual abuse. Your prosperity becomes the foundation for a support system that will prevent future chosen ones from experiencing the isolation and confusion you endured. The windfall approaching your life isn't just financial compensation, it's cosmic resource allocation for the next phase of your spiritual assignment. When divine abundance flows into your experience, it carries the momentum to fund projects, support other awakening souls, and dismantle systems of oppression that extend far beyond your personal situation. Your prosperity becomes a weapon against poverty consciousness and scarcity programming that keeps humanity enslaved to fear-based institutions. The abundance includes not just money, but access to technologies, connections, and opportunities that will amplify your impact exponentially. Real estate holdings in strategic locations, investment portfolios that generate passive income for your missions, business relationships with ethical entrepreneurs who share your vision, media platforms that will allow you to share truth with global audiences. The investigations will result in new legislation that strengthens protections for ritual abuse survivors, tightens regulations on organizations that work with children, and creates oversight mechanisms that prevent future infiltration of government agencies. International cooperation protocols will be established to track and prosecute transnational trafficking operations. Financial regulations will be strengthened to prevent money laundering through religious and charitable organizations. Former friends who betrayed your trust are experiencing the exact betrayals they inflicted on you. Family members who stole from your inheritance are losing their own financial security through unexpected reversals. Practitioners who send curses are discovering that their magic has permanently reversed direction, ensuring that every spell they cast increases their own suffering while strengthening your protection. The karmic reversals are creating a domino effect that's destroying the social networks these organizations depend on for recruitment and operation. Trust between members is evaporating as each person realizes they're vulnerable to the same betrayals they participated in against you. Financial relationships are collapsing as reversed prosperity formulas drain wealth from cult coffers. Magical alliances are dissolving as practitioners realize their powers have been compromised permanently. The most powerful transformation is happening within your own consciousness, where the victim mentality that their programming tried to instill has completely dissolved, replaced by unshakable knowledge of your divine identity and cosmic significance. Fear that once paralyzed your decision-making has transmuted into righteous anger that fuels strategic action. Confusion about your purpose has crystallized into laser-focused clarity about your mission and the resources being provided to fulfill it. The angels deployed for your protection aren't operating with passive guidance. They're wielding active intervention that removes obstacles and neutralizes threats with supernatural efficiency. Divine timing is accelerating every positive development while delaying or preventing every negative scheme your enemies devise. The coordination happening in heavenly realms on your behalf surpasses anything these earthly conspirators could organize, ensuring that their most carefully planned operations fail while your most spontaneous actions succeed beyond expectation. The Masons don't like you because your very existence threatens their entire establishment. Your awakening proves their philosophy wrong. Your protection exposes their powerlessness. Your prosperity demonstrates their poverty, and your mission renders their organization obsolete. They built their cult around the lie that divine beings could be controlled, manipulated, and harvested. Your life is walking proof that heaven's anointed cannot be touched by earthly powers and that cosmic justice always prevails over human conspiracy. The Masonic threat to your existence represents their recognition that your awakening signals the end of their era of control. Their centuries-old systems of manipulation are becoming obsolete as chosen ones worldwide recognize their true nature and claim their spiritual authority. Their attempted harvest of divine consciousness has failed catastrophically, resulting in the strengthening of their intended victims and the exposure of their criminal operations. The judgment flowing through your situation isn't ending, it's beginning. Every victory in your personal experience establishes precedent for similar victories worldwide. Every protection you receive strengthens the spiritual armor available to other chosen ones. Every abundance flowing into your life creates channels for prosperity to reach other divine agents. Your individual awakening becomes collective liberation that no shadow organization can prevent or reverse. The portal that opened with your awakening will never close again. The practitioners whose spells are backfiring today represent the first wave of a cosmic tsunami that will sweep away every institution built on lies and exploitation. The divine justice thundering toward them carries the momentum to transform not just your personal situation, but the entire planetary consciousness. Welcome to your power, chosen one. The angels are here, the ancestors are active, and divine justice is thundering toward everyone who thought they could oppose heaven's will. Their time is finished, and yours has just begun. The portal is open, the judgment is flowing, and the new earth is rising through your awakening. What began as attacks against your individual consciousness has become the catalyst for humanity's collective liberation from systems of spiritual oppression that have controlled this planet for millennia. The new earth rising through your awakening represents a reality where chosen ones guide human evolution toward its divine potential, where children are taught to recognize and develop their gifts rather than suppress them, where abundance flows to those who serve consciousness rather than ego, where love relationships are based on spiritual compatibility rather than karmic manipulation, where justice operates through cosmic law rather than human corruption. Your awakening is not the end of this story, it's the beginning of a new chapter where chosen ones worldwide step into their power and transform this planet into the heaven it was always meant to be.